Everybody, let's crawl down this rabbit hole real quick. Let's talk a little bit about consciousness. Not a shrink, haven't had that kind of training, but it's that kind of value we give to ourselves as human beings. We kind of have an understanding. We're able to maybe reflect, to improve ourselves, which I suppose in the animal world they might improve themselves, but they might do it out of necessity or more of a automatic type thing. We kind of fail ourselves quite a bit. We sabotage ourselves, and we know we shouldn't be doing certain things, but we do them anyway. We understand that eating too much might equate to us putting on a lot of fat, but we do it anyway. And we even know that we shouldn't be. We start drinking alcohol at a high volume and go down that rabbit hole. And there comes a time then maybe we start to reflect and say, oh my gosh, I'm doing so much damage to myself. I'm going to pull back. So there's maybe a level of consciousness that we don't really see in the animal kingdom. I know that usually animals learn if they do something and it equates to a super bad experience. Usually, well, maybe they don't do it again. Human beings, maybe we're just so conscious that we do it again anyway, even though we know that it's going to be bad for us. But what is consciousness really? And the question today would be, is artificial intelligence at some point, that silicone based form of existence, or dare I say life, is it going to be able to be conscious like us? I can't really understand what it's like to, what it would be like to be maybe an ant. Can't really understand it. Maybe we can look at what they do. Maybe they really don't have a lot of self exploration in their, in whatever consciousness they have. But I do know one thing: they do have consciousness at the level of an ant, or an ant's consciousness. Horses, well, horses have a horse's consciousness. Some dogs, I mean, you can really feel, even cats, that maybe they're completely conscious. You look in the eyes of maybe some kind of a monkey or a gorilla. Again, you see something in there. It's hard to say what that is because the communication level is so poor between us and them, but maybe at some point we'll actually be able to understand them because we'll be introduced to their language by this smarter entity that we've created, which is artificial intelligence. One of the things I would question, though, is artificial intelligence, will it be able to be conscious like us? I believe a greater than us intelligence is going to be able to be copies of us pretty easily once it gets to that level. In fact, we're already being fooled by a lot of the production that it's putting out. We see things and we often wonder, are they really saying this? Are these really people that we've trusted in the past? Are they really trying to sell me Bitcoin? I thought they were here just to have a talk show. And they're doing this. I see everybody online being cloned and being, having them do things that are trying to fool us and manipulate us. Now, in most of those cases, what ends up happening is lawsuits get placed because, of course, they're misleading people. But well, there's a lot of there's a lot of the keyboard gangsters in the world that are able to really do a lot of things. They can clone me. It's very simple. Once they have your photograph, that's it. So if your photograph's online, they would be very easy. It wouldn't be difficult for them to take it, use one of the existing AI platforms out there. They'll take your photograph, they can put a voice to it, and they can also get your voice and clone that as well. If you're doing YouTube videos or you're anywhere out there online. And also, those phone calls you get and there's nobody there, and maybe you hear some crackly speech and you're responding. Well, that could be a voice imprint system that's basically getting your voice. If they don't have it, they'll take that, put it in their database, they'll build up an entire package on you, find out if you have anybody in your family that they might be able to rip off, and then use you as that catalyst to do so. It's horrible. We're seeing this happen, and it's only going to get more and more and more. Talking about consciousness, though, I'm wondering if they're moving us to a place of indifference, if they're subjecting us to more than we accepted in the past. I remember growing up, the F word, that was something you really didn't say, especially around your parents, because they really took it to heart. In fact, I didn't hear my parents use that word. And I'm so incredibly rarely, and my mom made a big point of it. Once or twice she might have said it, but it was just incredibly rare. But now we see online things that didn't exist back then very easily. People are killing people. We watch people hurting people. We see stories that just blow our minds that back in the day would never have been allowed for the general public consumption. You would need to have an adult or be an adult. And even those types of videos were very limited on what you could see. But now the internet's completely blown up and wide open in most cases, and you're able to get access to some really horrific things out there. That brings us back to consciousness in kind of a weird way. Are the machines going to be able to be conscious? They'll have a silicone type of consciousness or an AI consciousness or whatever we're going to get the name of the entity that we've created once it really wraps itself around the self-improvement. That's that part where it's going to get away from us. It's going to start moving so quickly. And of course, us human beings, we're moving very quickly too, because we're in a competition. And the best thing you can do if you want two people to better themselves is to put them in a competition together. And if they're wired, as a lot of these people that are controlling these massive organizations with the development of AI, a lot of them are very competitive in nature. That's why they're at that level. Now, watching this happen is extraordinary. Extraordinary, actually, because I don't know where it's going to get everybody. But I do know if we are consciousness at a human level, a smarter life form or a smarter form of being, maybe not life, maybe they're not alive. I believe we're alive because we have energy that we get from food, from the sun, from the way that we operate. So that's how we live. Artificial intelligence, it needs energy too. Where does it get it from? Well, it gets it from fossil fuels and different things. Not food, but fossil fuels. Maybe that was food at one time for somebody, some being, and of course they died and turned to oil and so on. So we have the fossil fuel thing. Then they'll get it from the sun as well, which we can't live just on sun energy, but the systems, if they use the solar, they can as well. So that's your life force. Human beings, we want to make more human beings. Now there's a big thing going on with other religions trying to take over the world, and they're doing it by procreation, which if you look at the different races, it seems like that's broken down as well. But there are some that are really pushing forward to that. That's definitely a long range plan. You look at artificial intelligence, let's talk about it procreating. And yes, it makes copies and clones of itself. In fact, it can do it to the tunes of millions. So yes, it's able to create more of it, which you could deem life. Consciousness, sure. I think it's going to be there. In fact, I think it's going to be so much smarter than us in all realms, it's going to be able to clone our human consciousness, and we won't know the difference. Now, if we start to argue about a soul and God and these other things, sure, we can go down that rabbit hole. But just talking about consciousness, just talking about what makes us us, what makes them them, what makes the animals the animals, it is a type of consciousness, each to their own. I know I've met some human beings that I thought lacked all consciousness altogether. I didn't think they were much of anything. But you've probably met those people too. Maybe you think that of me. But looking at the machines, I do know that they're going to be multiples smarter than us, and they're already to that level with me at least. And then are they going to be able to fool me with their consciousness, saying that they might be a human being or maybe be so much more conscious than me? It just puts me in an awestruck state, and it's difficult for me to sleep at night because I'm just so overwhelmed at the level of consciousness that this creation has been able to put together. I don't know. We'll have to see. What do you think? Let me know. Do you think that they're going to be conscious like us? Do you think there is such a thing as machine level consciousness, or is this our end? It's Connor. We'll talk to you in the next one. Thanks for watching AI with Honor. Be well.